Good morning, and welcome to Brewing Happiness. We're doing that thing this morning where we're waiting a little bit to get started just to make it happen. But good morning. You know, I've been thinking a lot about self-discipline, right? I'm not good at it. It's something that I've struggled with my whole life. I don't know about you, but I have a list, a litany of unfinished projects laying around the house of things I'm a great starter, things I start but don't finish, right? That's a lack of willpower to finish what you started. I've quit things. I've quit so many things because they got hard. It's not something I'm proud of. It's not something that I want, but I do. I have quit things because they got hard in my life. I always thought of and so therefore I think of myself as a person with no willpower, right? And yet, sometimes I do, because there have been times when I quit things that were bad for me, just like that, decided one day to quit drinking diet soda and took a lifetime habit and just quit based on a decision, right? I've completed several challenges. I've done challenges with myself or with other groups, and I've completed those challenges. I get up to do this show every single day for 4 months. Now, I did miss one day. But other than that, I've been here every day for going on 4 months now. So it's not all about willpower. It's not fair to say I have no willpower, right? Self-discipline is described. What is self-discipline? Well, it's described in the dictionary as correction or regulation of oneself for the sake of improvement, or the ability to control one's feelings and overcomes one's weaknesses, the ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptations to abandon it. His observance of his diet was a show of tremendous willpower and self-discipline. There you go. So, obviously, the world thinks of discipline or self-discipline in terms of willpower, right? And this willpower game that we play with ourselves is pretty much the perfect setup for creating self-blame, shame, and guilt, right? We decide that you need to add or maybe quit something in your life. Usually it's something we've tried to do in the past, maybe unsuccessfully, right? Maybe this is just me. But what we find in this method is we're willing ourselves to change. We're setting kind of unrealistic expectations, and it doesn't work. And in fact, it can work against us, because discipline, like any new skill we want to learn, we start out not that great at it, right? Any new thing we implement in our life or we take something away, it feels uncomfortable. We come out of the gate with expectations and a strong determination, and we come out like gangbusters. But see, we start off with an expectation that we have a fully developed set of self-discipline tools at our hands, when maybe it's brand new, and we're trying to start off with the assumption that we have a fully mature, developed sense of self-discipline in ourselves. So we start out, like I said, like gangbusters, but then pretty soon we start slipping back into old habits. And you know what? Here's the deal. You can't walk into the gym and lift 400 pounds the first day, right? That's just not the way things work. It's hard to set the alarm clock and just decide one day I'm going to start getting up at 4 a.m. and boom, just change that habit without any planning or thought, right? We have a problem. We want self-discipline, but we need self-discipline to develop the habit. So to build willpower, we need to sustain that self-discipline over time, but to have that self-discipline requires extraordinary willpower. Well, it's a catch-22. According to a 2013 study by Wilhelm Hoffman, he says people with self-control, people who have some self-discipline, self-control, are happier than those without it. Right? That makes sense. When you are in control, you're more capable of dealing with conflicts. You spend less time debating with yourself over decisions. And the self-disciplined don't allow choices to be dictated by your impulses or feelings, right? So how do we overcome this paradox? Because the truth is, humans, proven fact. Humans make decisions based on feelings, right? We don't, not logic. We like to think we did it on logic and facts, but 95% of decisions are based on emotions and feelings. We like to do what feels good, and we like to avoid what does not feel good, right? So to develop willpower, we need to do what feels bad and avoid what feels good. That's what we're asking ourselves to do this, right? And do this for a sustained period of time, right? By the way. So honestly, to avoid what feels good and do what feels bad is hard, and it's not fun. And really, that is just not a good plan, right? That's not a great plan to get us to where we want to go, to just say, I'm just going to tough it out. But throughout time, there has been this idea that self-denial and virtue are linked, right? To be a good person, you have to deny yourself and avoid that which you love and enjoy and seek out that which you do not, right? And with the assumption that willpower equals self-discipline, it means that having willpower in this definition, in this set of assumptions, it means that everything is achieved through denying or rejecting our emotions. Now, that denial of our desires, our feelings, that's equated with morality, right? This is what it takes to be a good person. And again, when we fail, then we're not a good person. So let the self-flagellation begin, right? We get up, we say we're not going to eat ice cream. We get up in the middle of the night, we have some ice cream. We are a horrible person because we ate some ice cream. That's kind of the way our brains work, right? The marriage of morality and willpower, or self-denial, that was considered very positive. We admire people who it is a positive move for man. We admire people that have strong willpower. But honestly, ignoring your desires, working against your feelings is not that good for you either. I mean, throughout history, leaders, religious leaders, philosophers, kings, preachers, they all preach the concept that virtue was all about suppressing our feelings and denying our impulses, right? Virtue is about controlling your animal instincts. And, there's some good in this. Come on, it makes a stable society. There's no good from the hedonistic world. If it feels good, do it, with no thought to long-term goals or how it impacts others. I mean, no one's saying that we should all just do what feels good all the time, right? But it's not great for the individual to constantly be working. It's not great for any of us to constantly be working against our desires and our wishes. Because the result of linking morality or being a good person to the ability to tough it out, stick to the plan, is that it trains us to feel badly about everything that makes us feel good, right? It turns discipline into shaming, self-shaming, makes us lose touch with who we really are and what we really want in life. And eventually we get so filled with shame and self-loathing that, we lose contact, and we get a little afraid of the things that give us pleasure. Shame, by the way, it's just not good for us under any system, right? So the system of toughing it out or just having the willpower, this may work for the short run, but we know it doesn't work in the long run. We know it just doesn't work, right? For what we want makes us feel good is still there. Our feeling of wanting whatever we want is still there, right? And so to stuff it down, to pretend it doesn't exist, or even worse, to shame yourself because you have the desire, right? I am a horrible person because I want to eat that ice cream. I should be able to not want to eat the ice cream. Anxiety simply for acknowledging, for wanting our desires. This creates tension. This is anxious, anxiety, tension. we want it, we know we shouldn't, it's not good for us, or we think society doesn't think it's good for us. And then that tension resolves itself by one of two ways, right? Overindulgence. Either we just push that thought so far away that we just jump in and eat all the ice cream every day, or we might go the other way and numb ourselves through other systems. Okay, I'm not going to eat that ice cream, but I'm going to drink some alcohol, or I'm going to do some drugs, or I'm going to get really into exercise, right? We might go the other way and binge TV watching. But the truth is, shame cannot be numbed away, right? It just changes form. We might think we're fooling ourselves and that we have overcome not eat ice cream because now we exercise all the time. But if there's something going on that we're not dealing with, right, then pretty soon we start to hate ourselves for needing to exercise all the time. What started out as a great work ethic maybe turns into just nothing but self-denial. Not that good for us. The guy who works so much, right? Works himself so hard because he wants to take care of his family. Works so hard that pretty soon he can't enjoy the moments when he's not working because he needs to be working all the time. So, self-discipline based on self-denial is not the plan. It can't be sustained. And in fact, it just breeds a dysfunction and ultimately leads to self-destruction. So, no good, right? So the bottom line is self-denial equals emotional dysfunction, which equals self-destruction. So this is not a path we want to be on. In other words, this is not the way we want to go with this, right? So, you can go to the gym for a week, stop eating sweets, whatever it is you want to do, but until that starts to feel good, you can't keep it up. Super just self-denial is impossible to keep up unless you're receiving some reward, right? For not drinking or smoking or not eating the ice cream. You're eventually just going to go right back to it. That's how we're built. So, what's the emotionally healthy way to go about self-discipline? That's really the question, right? If we agree that just trying to have willpower is not going to do it for it, then the first step, then self-discipline comes through working our way through those emotions, acknowledging them, right? Because self-discipline really ultimately grows through self-acceptance. You're wanting to make the change for yourself. Not in this I'm going to do it standpoint, but the first step is to de-link the personal failings from our moral failings, right? If you ate ice cream last night, you are not a horrible person. You're just simply a person who gave into an indulgence, right? That's all. We all give into indulgences. We all feel guilty about it. But we got to change the chain reaction that we've built up for ourselves, right? We don't even realize all the time how often we are judging ourselves and all our perceived failings, large and small. And then without realizing it, we tack on that because I'm a horrible person. You don't have to hear those words. I messed up that project at work because I'm a horrible person. I ate the whole tub of ice cream because I'm a horrible person. Like I said, we might not hear those words, but it's in there. That's the message that we're sending to ourselves. But calling yourself a horrible person, right? I can't do this because I'm a horrible person. Well, that's a little bit of an escape clause, right? I'm not responsible. I got to eat the ice cream. I'm a horrible person. Why should I even bother to try? This proves this title that we've given ourselves, this horrible person title, this lack of willpower person, this spineless jellyfish that we call ourselves, right? That title that we give ourselves, well, that just proves we can't change. It's like I said, it's kind of our get out of jail free card. It implies there's nothing I can do about this craving, so why bother? Might as well eat it. Right? Maybe there's a little fear and anxiety when we give up the horrible person status to suggest that we are capable of change, that we are not a horrible person, just someone who gave into an indulgence, and we are capable of making different decisions, right? And then I don't know, some of us. Then you start thinking, well, I've wasted so much time coming to this conclusion. Oh my God, I could have been doing all this. Stop. Because I could have been because I could have figured this out earlier, right? Stop it. It's exhausting. But once we uncouple our judgment from our emotions and actions, now, not simple, easy to understand, not simple to do. But once we decide that just because something makes us feel bad, does not mean that we are bad, right? Once you can make that distinction, oh, not eating ice cream, I really want some, it sucks. Okay, deciding that it's an opportunity to realize that our emotions are just our internal behavior indicators, right? Mechanisms. They can be managed like everything else. But, always the big but. But in order to be managed, we have to look at some of the underlying issues. So you eat the whole tub of ice cream on a regular basis, right? Why are you doing this? Yes, it tastes good. Yes, it brings comfort. But what are you numbing? What craving are you giving into? What emotion are you hiding from? This is where we could use our 5 why drill down to get down to the root cause, right? Ask myself, why? Why am I eating this ice cream? Because it feels good. Why do I need to feel good by eating ice cream? And you just keep asking why until you get to kind of the base reason. Because I don't feel good about myself. I don't like the way I look. There's no point in making a change, so I might as well eat some ice cream. It doesn't matter what you get down to, right? Find it. Find that deep, dark secret that is driving that behavior. Oh, what? Oh, Tina, you don't have an easy answer. There's no quick fix for this. We got to go back to living the examined life and honestly looking inside to see what's going on and drilling down past the surface answers. Yes. It's the answer to everything. But when you find it, you confront it head on. You accept it. Accept that it's a part of you and it's never going away, right? The way we see things, our core values, we manage them, but they're there in us. Okay, accept it. You can work with that, right? You can accept, I have a tendency to X, whatever. We have to learn to love ourselves, as my grandma used to say, guts, feathers, and all, right? The whole kit and caboodle. I got a million of those little old-time cliches, right? But we need to learn that they are all a part of us, our fabulous uniqueness, our magical mystery tour of life, and all those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, they're all a part of us. And here's where the magic happens. Because when you start to accept those parts of you that aren't perfect, that aren't what you wish were the qualities you had been assigned, right? When you stop feeling awful about yourself and just say, this is me, this is what I got to work on, there's nothing to numb anymore, right? You're no longer hiding from something. So the ice cream now is pointless because now you have taken it out and looked it square in the eye. And there's no reason to punish yourself once you accept this and start to like yourself. Now you don't have to punish yourself because you're just like, this is me. You don't want to punish you. You want to take care of you. And soon eating that tub of ice cream just doesn't even sound good anymore, right? Because now you're caring for you. No longer an itch to be scratched, no longer a demon to be numbed. New habits now are healthy and replenishing. So, bottom line, self-discipline is a habit, a learned behavior, a skill you can develop with that word. What's that word again? Practice. And you know what? Do you need self-discipline? Well, it brings a lot of benefits. Decreases anxiety, shame, and blame. The shame and blame game just bring anxiety and stress, right? When you control how you act, you feel a little less anxious. You're not beating yourself up in the background all the time. It increases your chances of achieving your long-term goals. You get fewer distractions, self-imposed setbacks. And it simply makes you happier. When you are on the path to achieving your goals and you can see yourself accomplishing them little by little, moving forward, you are so much happier than when you are sitting on the couch wishing you were achieving your goals and beating yourself up because you're not doing it. So, how do we develop self-habit? Self-discipline. How do we get some self-discipline? Well, try a countdown. Sometimes if you're not motivated to do something, you just count to 10. I'm going to do this 10, 9, 8, and give yourself a countdown. That 10-second countdown is a mental shift where you move from I don't want to I'm going to do it. Because the countdown started. You're going to do it, right? You've already made the decision when you make the countdown. You're just giving yourself a little space. Sometimes we just need a little push, right? Write out your goals. Put them where you can see them every day. Make them real. When you write them out, when you write them down, you're stating them out loud. When you're putting them on a note where other people can see them, you're making them real. You're making them public. Put them where you see them often. Inspire yourself. Put them on your desk. Put them on your mirror. Put it on your steering wheel. Put it in your purse. Put it on your calendar, right? Schedule yourself time to whatever it is you're going to do. Go to the gym. Read a book every week. Whatever you're going to do. Schedule it. Use a phone timer. Calendar timers, right? But be nice to yourself. Don't go crazy. Don't shame yourself. Be happy. Be positive. I'm going to read now. How are you going to look at those things? Not feeling good or motivated. Maybe if you're not feeling good or motivated, if you keep putting them off, if you keep coming up with excuses not to do it, maybe go revisit those goals. Maybe they're not the right goals, right? Maybe you need to reassess what it is you were really trying to achieve. But remember your big why. Why are you starting or stopping this behavior? What is the outcome that you are focused on? Because when you remind yourself about the payoff, right, the big picture, then you can live with short-term pain for long-term gain. That's how you have to look at it. This is short-term pain. I'm going to exercise for 15 minutes. I hate it. I freaking hate exercising. But I do it because I know in the long run it makes me stronger. It reduces my blood pressure. It ultimately will help me live a healthier, longer life. And I am all about living a longer life. So short-term pain for long-term gain, if you can remember what the long-term gain is all about, right? Visualize yourself having taken complete control of your life, accomplishing your goals yourself. See yourself at the end of the path, arriving at the goal that you're setting. Remember to tell yourself how proud you are of yourself. Acknowledge the process, the little bit of work you're doing every day, the showing up, the trying, the wanting to make the change. Be proud of that person. Support that person, right? And don't start off with the giant goals. Come on, like I said, nobody goes into the gym and lifts 400 pounds on the first day. Set them small. We can get overwhelmed if we set the bar too high. We need I don't want my success to be so far down the line I can't see it, right? I want to build confidence by starting small, accomplishing slowly little bits of goal. I'm not going to eat ice cream today. Isn't that the whole one day at a time theory, right? I'm not going to eat ice cream today. Then at the end of the day, I can say, okay, I didn't go for the ice cream today. Go big me. If I did it today, I can do it tomorrow. Saying I'm not going to eat ice cream for a month, that's overwhelming. I'm not sure I can do that. I don't have confidence about that. If you run 5 miles without stopping, you don't start the first day by running 5 miles without stopping, right? Set your goal for a quarter mile, a couple of blocks. What can you do? What can you do and finish it and go, I did it. Tomorrow you add a couple houses. You add a couple blocks. You add a little bit every day till you stretch yourself into that 5 miles a day. You want to do 50 sit-ups? Start with 5. You can do 5 sit-ups, right? Can't do 5? Do 1. Add 1 every day. It's okay. Do 1 sit-up. I did a sit-up. The next day, do 2 sit-ups. The next day, 2, 3. You'll be amazed at the momentum that you build, the confidence and the courage that you build as you see yourself achieving these small goals, one after the other, after the other. Accomplishing the small ones gives us the motivations to keep going. And maybe you can't do them all at once, right? Okay, I'm going to lose weight, get exercise, start making more money, be nicer to my kids, and do better at work this week. No. Crazy. That's impossible. You're a human being who is making an improvement while the bus is still dry. You still got to live life, right? Nobody gets to stop and say, okay, I'm going to have a major self-improvement project here, so all my life has to stop while I work on it. That's not the way it works. So prioritize. What's the most important thing? What's the one thing that's bothering you the most? Get that started. Get a new habit in place. And when it starts to feel good to you, then it's time for the second one. Don't do too much at one time. And set real goals with numbers and dates. I know, scary, right? But it has to have an end date. I'm gonna get more fit by starting to exercise. What's more fit, right? And when am I starting to exercise? And when am I done exercise? That's not really as achievable as I'm going to be able to complete a 20-minute cardio workout within the next 6 weeks. I will be able to complete a 20-minute cardio workout without stopping. Be specific. It has an end date. I can say on the end of the 6th week, I did it. Or I really worked at it and I didn't do it, but I'm going to try again for the next 6 weeks, right? Working at a goal as hard as you can and not accomplishing it can still be as motivating as getting it done because you showed up every day. You worked hard at it. Maybe the goal was a little high for you. That's all right. Let's try again, right? So a few more tips. Remove temptations. If you want to eat healthy, throw away the junk food. You want to focus, turn off the phone, shut down the Facebook, right? Make it easy. Make it easy to choose the right thing. Make it easy to do what you're trying to do. Also, here's something. If you're in a self-discipline path, eat regularly and healthy. Being hungry steals your will, right? It steals your resolve. Low blood sugar makes you hard to think, hard to make decisions, hard to focus, makes you grumpy, negative. That hangry thing, it's real. So eat healthy, eat often, but make sure you're keeping up your strength, right? And the biggest thing is we can't wait for it to feel right. Habits, repeated behaviors. Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of the Habit, explains that habit behaviors begin in our basal ganglia. That's the portion of the brain associated with memory, emotions, and patterns, right? Decisions happen in the frontal cortex. That's a completely different area of the brain. So when a behavior becomes a habit, we stop using our decision-making skills and we move to that ganglia, basal, functioning on autopilot. That's the part of the brain that runs our autonomous systems, right? Autopilot. So when we make the decision to try something new or stop something that we have grown accustomed to, it feels wrong, right? Because the autopilot and the decision-making, they're out of sync. We are. That's the way our brain's wired. Nobody's, I'm going to do this and it feels good because we're out of sync. But what do? Acknowledge this. Okay, this is uncomfortable. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel normal to me. Okay, acknowledge it doesn't feel comfortable, out of sync, but keep doing it. Knowing that when you continue the habit for long enough, your lizard brain and your thinking brain, they're going to catch up with each other and things are going to shift and that habit's going to move to the autopilot and the decision-making part of the brain's going to stop getting involved saying, this doesn't feel good, right? Schedule breaks and reward yourself again. And reward yourself. Nobody has sheer willpower. We need to know something's good is coming from having to endure these discomfort, right? Of the new or the missing. I'm not going to eat ice cream. I need to have something that makes me feel good instead. Giving yourself no wiggle room or no reward, lose your momentum, give up. Dieting? I can eat ice cream on Saturdays. I'm not going to eat ice cream on Tuesday, but I'm going to have it on Saturday, right? Exercising? If I exercise, I get to watch 3 episodes of my favorite Netflix show. I'm going to do a little binge watching. Change is hard. Self-discipline, willpower takes effort and hard work. Indulge yourself, reward yourself until you create the habit and it becomes a part of the normal, right? Finally, this is the end. Be gentle with yourselves, right? No one's trajectory is the straight line up. We all up and down, up and down. That is the way of growth. That is the statistically what you should expect. That nobody's growth path is just this. Nobody says, tomorrow I'm going to be a different person, and then with no effort, with no fallbacks, with no setbacks, they just magically morph into the new vision of themselves. Not realistic. And if that's what you think is going to happen, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. There will be slip-ups. It's okay. Forgive yourself. Get back to it. When you have a setback, acknowledge what happened. I was feeling really low emotionally, and I let myself eat the ice cream even though I said I wasn't going to. What caused it? Move on. Don't get wrapped up in the guilt, the blame, the shame. We know that it ends badly. Those emotions will not help you get anything done. Acknowledge those emotions are there. Acknowledge the guilt, the shame, the blame. Pat them on the head and say, I'm sorry, there's nothing for you here today. There's no place for you to play here today, and send them on their way. Forgive yourself and get back to it. The longer you wait, the harder it is to jump back into the game. So, okay, didn't go well today. Tomorrow's a new day. Okay, that's the show for today. Getting longer and longer. If you like the show, I'd love it if you could leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Was it helpful? Is there something you'd like to talk about? I'd love to hear from you. Until tomorrow, though, make it a happy day.